Hello, I'm Andrew Merrimack, and today I am doing a presentation about how legislative, executive, and judicial power impact health policy formulation and how they relate to Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act and health policy. So we are going to talk about the impact on health policy formulation, the link to the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, and health policies. Also, the effect on policy formulation, implementation, and modification, and lastly, the influence on policy termination. The separation of powers refers to the structural arrangement of an organization in which responsibilities, authorities, and functions are delegated to separate entities rather than being centralized. The phrase separation of powers is most frequently used in reference to political systems in which legislative, executive, and judicial powers of the government are vested in different organizations. The purpose of the separation of powers is to prevent the accumulation of unrestrained authority and to provide a system of check and balances in which the powers of one body of government are limited by the powers of another branch. This is done to avoid authoritarianism and also the abuses of power. The impact on health policy formation. Let's start with the legislative power. Congress is considered to be the part of legislative power. Congress is the only part of the government that has the authority to enact new laws and alter those that are already in place because all legislative power in the government is vested in Congress. They are the driving force behind the passage of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act in the United States, in addition to other policies. Next is the impact of the health policy formation by the executive power. The U.S. President is the head entity of the executive branch of the government. The President of the United States, who also serves as the head of state and the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Service, is given control over the executive branch. The President picks the leaders of all government agencies, including the Cabinet, in order to carry out and enforce the laws such as the Affordable Care Act and other initiatives and policies passed by Congress. Furthermore, the Vice President is a member of the executive branch and prepared to take over as the President if necessary. With the judicial power, the decisions about the interpretation of law, the manner in which they should be applied to actual circumstances, and the determination of whether or not the law violates the provision of the constitutions are made of the judicial branch. The Constitution of the United States of America is the supreme law of the country. Furthermore, the judicial arm of the United States government includes the United States Supreme Court, in which is the highest court in the country. The judiciary's power is responsible for ensuring that the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, as well as other health programs approved by Congress, comply with the Constitution of the United States. So how does these three government branches affect policy formulation, implementation, and modification? So let's start with the legislative branch. As the ACA, or Affordable Care Act, is being promised to all U.S. citizens to ensure mass healthcare privileges, the legislative branch is working hard to attain possible initiatives. The program was guaranteed to be passed via Congress by the legislative leaders, ensuring that the residents of the United States can now profit from the Affordable Care Act. So the formulation and implementation of the Affordable Health Care Act was put into action and implemented by Barack Obama, who was serving as the president before. He was the head of the executive branch at that time. As a result, it was codified into law. Because of this, the judiciary of the United States has made it possible for people who are uninsured under the Affordable Care Act to receive the appropriate medical attention they require through their policies. At the moment, both legislative and executive branches, with the watchful direction of the judicial branch, are working hard making adjustments to the policy to achieve requirements for the health care of all Americans without causing undue difficulties. So finally, we will go through the three different branches which can have an effect on the termination of the program. Should that decision be made in the future, if the Affordable Care Act is to be reappealed, at some point in the future, the legislative body must must first have a vote with the outcome of determining whether the law should continue to be in effect or to be abolished completely. With the backing of the executive members and some members of the Congress, the President of the United States has the ability to bypass legislative authority and bring an end to any kind of healthcare policies or initiative. And lastly, the judiciary powers can affect the termination of any initiatives. If and when the judiciary determines the Affordable Care Act violates any laws or the Constitution, then it will have the authority as well to scrap the law. So in this presentation, we talk about the impact of the separation of powers on health policy formulation, their link to the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act and health policies, and also the effect on policy formulation, implementation, and modification. Finally, we talked about the influence of policy termination. Thank you. And these are my references.